Skype is down, so we had to use Google Hangouts. And of course, well, so my window's all pixelated. Let's see, I'll show you something funny though. If I click on me as the main character, then I'm Tenma.
Oh God.
Yeah. So, but check out the hat. Look at that. This is my grumpy hat. All right. Anyway, so Tenma's got the cool hat. That's all right. I'm good with that. Well, so meshing with voxels over the weekend and last week, we saw some really cool stuff coming across the Twitter sphere about what they're working on over at Daybreak. And of course, as we've learned rather recently, Landmark has again a dedicated team. So we're really grateful to Elemental Fiend for giving us the heads up on all the updates and changes that are coming out over there. The stuff that came across, was it King K. Roak?
Roche. Yeah.
Okay, Roche. Yeah, dude, wow. So if you're not following him on Twitter, you need to. But let me pull that up on the screen real quick. And there it is. So we saw this, and my first thought was, oh, wow. So look at that. I mean, it's really a
That's
a primitive.
That's the later picture.
Yeah.
That's later on, but they were doing stuff before that.
Well, here's his Twitter handle. It's at King K Roak. Give him a follow over there. Let me show you the next picture.
I call him Roshak. I don't know. Maybe I just don't pronounce it right, which that's typical of
well,
me.
Well, it wouldn't be fun if you pronounce it right.
Yeah.
Just.
But there's some posts before that, right there. Okay, I'm seeing it on the screen now. Which is the early versions of the Sphere tool, early concepts of the Sphere tool, and I think that's pretty awesome. How that relates to the meshing, I don't know yet, but that's pretty awesome.
Well, okay? So this deserves a little bit of time. What we're looking at there is basically something that is smaller than a voxel. So is that the one? Is the last one?
No. Okay, the tools are a little bit different. The way the tools is, you have a minimum that it actually can perform the actual sizing.
Right.
And like I told him, it'd be best just to make it a minimum. That way, if it goes down into areas where it starts breaking apart, then you don't have people getting mad because it just falls apart.
Yep. So what you see down here at the small sizes, he said the cylinders become cubes. Okay, well that's to be expected, I guess. Now we saw there's one more over here on this list. He's got a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, he's been putting out some pretty cool stuff recently.
Now this one is a stamp. So look at this. Look at the size of that thing.
Now that is the meshing.
That
is the sizing of the meshing, and it will retain its size all the way up and down. And I think that's pretty neat. But like I said, that's an early concept, and it's one of those things where I cannot wait to see the final version on how it works. And if the rotation, when you go to rotate it, it doesn't become too roaming vectoring to where you start getting the spikes and stuff like that coming out of it. I think that's the one telltale sign if it's going to actually work for what we need it to do or not. But as it stands, just doing something on pretty much the geographical plane of the world, that's not bad. That's actually pretty cool. It's just when you go to rotate that everything usually goes kind of flaky on us.
So we know that they're working on primitives. Obviously we need more primitives in the game. And the big one that I think everybody's really anxious to get their hands on is the cylinder as a primitive, as a building object, and also a circular line tool.
The big thing is if they're making the tools in mesh instead of like how they've been doing it in the past, if they're going with the mesh way of doing it, scaling things up and shrinking it down and all that kind of stuff is going to be pretty interesting, because it gives us a little bit more playroom, and it comes out looking a little bit cleaner. And it'll make it a lot easier to put newer versions of tools and different primitives and stuff out there in the long term.
Yeah, let me go back to that teapot picture real quick, because that is a perfect example of kind of what you're talking about. So you can see here in this mesh. I mean, look at this. So ideally, this is a voxel forge would do this. You create something in voxels and then convert it to a mesh, and then it can be used in these ways. But as we know, before they'd be willing to do voxels to props, they'd have to approve every prop because they have a limited amount of space for props in the game.
And Trelawnus is saying primitives, never heard that term before in landmark context. Basically, primitives are when you select your different tool shaping, your square, your sphere, your, what is it, a 45 on a 45, those type of shapes. Those are the primitive shapes. And the one that we've always been asking for is a cylinder. And that was like one of the basic shapes we've been basically begging and pleading for since alpha. We had more primitives in early alpha, and then they took some of them out because they didn't work correctly.
Now, what primitives did we have in early alpha?
There was a few. I'm really fuzzy on it now, but I know we have more than what we have now.
Okay.
But there was some issues with it. When you were actually placing them into the world, they just didn't work right, and they got removed like really early on.
I'm looking for a video that he tweeted out.
And I have that video. Give me a second. I'll get you.
Hello and welcome. Here. My name is Jeffiro Hiro.
That was the latest one that was put out.
Let's see.
The natural terrain one. It should be it.
Oh, there it is. Here's.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's one. Wow. So I gotta get that over my screen. This is a heck of a cool video. You can see it now. So.
Oh, that's the other one.
This is the example of the camera that they're working on, the building camera, and I like this. So as you can see, he's become invisible in this, and you can see him toggle back and forth between his regular camera and the building camera.
Now, the one thing that really is something you can take into perspective here. You've made something on the ground, and you want to be able to look underneath the edging of it for something. Now, as it stands right now, the only way you could do that is to cut a hole in the ground and jump in the hole, so you can look underneath of it. Then jump out of the hole and then bring it back.
Yeah, and
this
of course
will allow you to clip through the ground.
Can we get a show of hands, everybody who's dug a hole for their camera so they can inspect something? Totally.
So this will allow us to be able to free rotate around that whole entire object. And from what he said, it's clippable. It'll allow you to clip through objects. Really can't wait to see that. I think that would be a really neat thing, because it takes away the limitations of the character body.
And that's going to be really handy for machinima as well.
Oh yes.
So I mean, they hit several birds with one stone.
I'm kind of wondering what the max zoom out is for that.
No idea.
That is my question. It'd be kind of interesting to find out, and if there's a way you can basically hide the little sphere in the center in the options. I think that'd be kind of cool if you could hide the sphere and still have that functionality.
Now, you had another video from, was it from him?
Yes, it's in TeamSpeak's Landmark chat. It's the last link.
Got it.
Now, this one was pretty interesting. This particular video, it actually shows something quite cool. Think of this as it's a template. Okay, think of it in that terminology. It's a template. You've created something. It is turned into a mesh, though. So I can sit there and free rotate this thing and just totally move it around, put it down how I want. But it's a mesh up until the point where you actually place it into the world. When it actually gets placed into the world, it's a voxel.
It's voxels, yeah.
And which, on their side of things, it makes it really simple to make terrain the way they want it. And that's why I'm pretty sure the reason why he named that video "Quick Natural Terrain."
Yeah, and that makes and that makes a lot of sense.
But it's kind of cool how, you know, the pieces that he's placing down, it actually looks pretty clean. I mean, you don't see a lot of roaming vectoring in there. There's a few little places that look kind of meh, but for the most part, it looked pretty cool. I mean, it looked like something he had, you know, kind of just plopped a few things down, and, you know, looks like he painted it brass. But it looked pretty cool for what the.
Now, do we know if they worked with Miguel to get to this step?
I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
From Voxel Farm?
Do not know.
Haven't heard anything.
Well, I mean, Miguel's he's always working with those guys, so we don't know what he has and what he hasn't worked.
Well,
his hands into.
Miguel's got a huge warm spot in his heart for Landmark.
Well, Miguel's company, I mean, he went from a one-man show to a multi-man show now, and with that engine, and he's based out of Canada. For everybody up there in the Maple Leaf, a very awesome guy. Got to meet him, talk to him, really cool dude.
Yeah, he was. We did a nice presentation at SOE Live as well.
Mm-hmm.
It was good to be there and get to hear what he had to say and have him show off Voxel Farm. Now you've got a license for Voxel Farm, right?
Yes.
Which version are you running?
I haven't updated it recently, but I should be able to get off my butt at some point in time and get it updated to the newest version. The one thing, the biggest difference is the key commands. It's like jumping out of, you know, Call of Duty and trying to play Battlefield. You know, it's you know, the keys are different. It doesn't exactly, you know, some are the same, but there are changes between the two. And so jumping out of Landmark and trying to work into the Voxel Farm is it's different.
Now, we have no idea of how they intend to share any of these things that we've just seen. We don't know. We just see these as developments that are happening on their end, and I'm excited for it.
To be honest, most of these new tools, that's in-house. That's in-house stuff. That's not on Voxel Farm side.
Oh, yes, what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, these developments are all in-house at Daybreak. Because they're, I mean, you can tell. I mean, he's showing those from his Landmark client.
And I mean, you know, the other day when he put out that last video, he was talking about how long it took to compile to try to get everything so they could actually do the video. And yeah, so I mean, we're talking, you know, hours upon hours. You know, they tweak something, and then to find out if the tweak worked, you got to compile it and run it. Okay, it didn't work. Well, you go in there, you tweak some more, you compile it, then you run it. You know, And this is that rinse and repeat, thing that they have to do to get something actually created for the game. Just because it comes out mathematically correct, when they're doing the write-ups and trying to figure out what they need to do next or whatever, it doesn't mean that it's going to work the first time. And that's why it takes such a long time for the programmers to actually get something put together, because I'd say about 50% of their time is compiling and running and praying it works. And then if it doesn't work, then after that, then, if it does work, then they go through the testing phase, put it through the wash. And even in that phase, it doesn't come out right half the time, as we all know. And we start complaining and moaning and b-wording and stuff like that. But, hey, we're in beta. Suck it up. It's all good.
So these meshes, as far as I know, and what they've always stated is that there is no intention and that they will not let you take a mesh you've created in any 3D modeling program and bring it into Landmark. And I would imagine that that's still the case. So
it opens a possibility that they could, by having it like this now. But when it gets imported, it gets imported, and when you put it into the world, it's voxels. It's not going to be the mesh anymore if they work it in a certain way, which it kind of opens it up a little bit. But the question, to actually import something as a prop, that's a different story. Because that it would inflate the prop count. Where if you imported something from like Mayo or 3D Studio Max or Blender or any of the other 3D
and I've got an example of exactly what we're talking about right here. So this right here, this is a really cool video. This is like 3 or 4 years old, this video. But this is Voxels. This is some guy's voxel project that he was working on. No idea where he's gone with it. We, at the time that we first saw this, we recommended to Daybreak, you could track this guy down and license his stuff or hire him or something. But so you'll see this is really cool, but it's a good illustration of voxels.
I told you my input about this. Number one, scale. What scale are they at? Number two, they're not streaming this over the internet. Okay, this is like on their home. They got their own server going, and it's probably got like dual i7s and like a ridiculous amount of speed going on in this thing to be able to do this one movie.
And check this out. So here's where watch him. He destroys the tire on here. But what's interesting, and this is all voxels. You can tell that's voxel deletion right there that's going on. Now watch the vehicle. The physics here is really impressive. So, and this is one of the reasons I'm so excited to see them showing off some of the mesh stuff that they're working on over there at Daybreak. Of course, you can't see my hand gestures. As soon as the car starts traveling around, I'll show it.
Yeah, but like I said, this is cool. But the whole entire thing is they probably did this whole video and had no materials on it. And then through a rendering process, then they put the materials on it and rendered it. We don't know.
Yeah, I'm thinking, look, I mean, this is cool. It's really cool stuff. But I'm thinking that everything in that guy's voxel world that he's ever engineered is right there in that one scene. So, but it's old tech. I mean, that's from several years ago. But this is why I'm so excited about seeing the mesh stuff that Roic tweeted out. So, man, guys, Elemental, keep that coming. Holy cow!
See, I'm being the skeptical one here because it's that video is one of those things where like we don't know the process of what they did to actually get it recorded.
Oh yeah, we know nothing
and all that.
We know absolutely nothing.
So I'm being the skeptical one here when it comes down to that video. Now, also you had to also take into account the size of the voxels that were being used. And yes, it may work perfectly fine in that environment, but I mean, how do you expand that out until to the size of EverQuest? You know, that's where I see big issues, especially when you're trying to stream that between a server and a client. You know, I see so many issues with that, though.
Well, you know, I've been wanting to take my frigate forever, or any of these cool ships or automobiles or trucks that we see in the game. Mechs is another good example. We've been wanting to take those and drive them around the game like that. And I have absolutely no idea of how far in the future, if at all, that is going to be in Landmark. But man, if they could achieve that, how awesome would that be? Can you imagine seeing Bob Dobbs' giant ship come, hovering over your clay?
And we got a little bit of conversation kind of going on right now. Metallical says physics have been mentioned. You will be able to change the physics on your claim. We haven't heard anything about physics in a long time. It's been at least a year plus since we heard anything about physics. Honestly, I don't see it anytime soon. Not choke myself up.
Tim, don't get all choked up, man.
All right. Carrying on.
I'm looking for the physics video that they did during SOE Live from Voxel Physics. Here we go. I've got it. So here's. Oh, this is.
And just to let everybody know, we are running a little short man today, and the main reason for that is because Skype took a poop on us.
Yeah, that's.
And if you try to log into your Skype account right now, you probably won't be able to log in. Yeah. And so we decided hey, we're going to nix it. We'll just do a two-man show. So
here is this is a video from Voxel Farm. And this is, as you can see, we can't see it on the screen, but it says Voxel Farm Physics. And here's an example. So now this looks a little bit like Landmark because it is Voxel Farm. It's the core engine behind.
That's one of the early implementations of Voxel Farm when it first came out. That video's been out for.
Yeah. This is old. This is old. Now this wasn't the one that they showed at SOE Live either. It's just the first one I pulled up. And this is good. He's going to cut the connecting piece on some of these and see. But this is good stuff, though. This gives you an idea for the potential of Landmark. Now, since this stuff was done at Voxel Farm, they have the ability to share how they did that with the dev team. But this is cool stuff. Let me look at these voxels. Of course, I talk with my hands while no one can see.
No, basically right now he's at least on what I'm seeing on the screen. I'm 30 seconds or 15 seconds behind just like everybody else is here. He showed that, hey, it's a 3D world, and then he started, cutting out some of the voxels to show that, the other voxels would fall away. And I thought that was kind of neat. Plus it being able to roll downhill. Now, the only thing is when you take this and you put it into our world, into Landmark, it kind of makes me wary in a way. Yes, it should be a per claim thing. It should not be a worldwide thing. I think you'd end up running off a lot more people than what you're going to keep by putting the physics in if you tried to make it worldwide.
So you're saying to make that a feature that you'd have to toggle for your claim, and I believe there'd have to be a limit to how many claims they could allow that happening on simultaneously.
I mean, I could, with stuff like that, I can see me if I'm a new player, I come in there, I spend like 9 hours making just like the coolest thing in the world, I made like the Karen Colossus and say it's front heavy. Okay. And I don't know it's front heavy.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It looks fine, but for some reason it's front heavy. Maybe I've got a little bit too much metal on the front or something. I don't know. And I just happen to go into my options. Hey, what is this? Click. I'd be mad. I would be so mad. After spending that much time on something, all of a sudden I lost everything I had. I just, like I said, I think it would you would make more people matter than what would be good. And I think it would be something that would have to be a toggleable and a warning prompt. Hey, this may drastically make your crap fall apart or something, you know. And
well, I think it's one of those things that you know, you would have to turn it on like you turn on PvP. Maybe you have to have a prop that you can activate and add physics to your thing, or you know, so
the extra steps just to be able to do it. Yeah.
When the PvP is going on and people are damaging the claim itself, you know, that stuff
and
could fall out of the sky. Yeah, that's and kills.
You're all dead.
That would be just that would be a lot of fun. I need the tweet from Rosie.
Oh yeah, it should be the second link in TeamSpeak. And that's the one about the materials, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here we go. I got Rosie's.
Yeah. Let me see if I can get that up for you, and I'll go ahead and post it in chat for everybody.
All right. So this has been a really, really great thread. Let me get that on the screen. We could do a whole show on just this.
Mm-hmm. Well, recently, you mean to talk about it, or?
Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Okay, so Rosie, she put out this tweet and basically asking for ideas for materials for Halloween. Now, last year, Halloween had a competition. I'm not sure how that plays out for us this year, but last year it had a competition. And they're basically asking for material ideas. Now, after reading through everything that has been said on Twitter, it kind of boiled down to this. We had people asking for red and green liquids, which I thought was kind of cool. I was like, well, shoot, let's broaden the scope, though, a little bit. If we're going to ask for 2 colors, let's go ahead and ask for a rainbow. Okay?
Well, why not?
So we need a rainbow of liquids. In other words, red, blue, yellow, all the different colors that we've been asking for like puke and all that other kind of stuff, liquids. We got blue. We got water. Get the other colors. All right. And that was asked, my little 2 cents on, but the red and the green would be awesome because red we can make it into blood, and of course green we can make into like goo monsters. And then of course for the majority of what was said on Twitter was everybody wants cobwebs, spider webs, that whole 9 yards, which would be probably more of a prop than a material. It'd be kind of interesting if it was if that was a material though.
Yeah, it would.
Think about it. I mean, if there was like a material, it was just see-through, but the only thing you saw was the actual cobwebs in the material. So you could shape something however you wanted, and it would be like span across, different places because you smoothed it down and made it thin and made like these little connecting pieces or something. That would be actually kind of cool if it was a material versus a prop. But like I said, it would have to be a see-through material of some sort. And we haven't seen anything like that yet, other than water, which meh, not so much.
Well, one thing I found interesting is about this discussion, and if you follow Rosie, you can see that on her feed there. Mm-hmm. But it went quickly from materials to props, and with props, it went straight away to emitters. And the recommendations, the requests I saw for emitters were, holy cow, stuff we got up. And the first one right at the top is the lightning emitter.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's something we've been begging forever. I remember when
over a year
when we were sitting on the monster build, and Metallica had made that electricity for the little thingies on the side. They had monster build and they had like electricity like this.
Little Tesla coils.
We need lightning. You know,
So that would be epic. If we could only get one emitter, I think that would be my first choice for sure. But wow, the ideas we saw come up here are just fantastic. One of them, I mean, with the materials, I think one of the ones that got a lot of favorites was the the liquids rather, in different colors.
What?
Liquids, liquids in different colors. Wine.
Yeah.
So take a glass you've made and fill it with wine.
And that would be with those materials I was talking about, the different rainbow colors. Like one of every color. I mean, we've been asking for that for ages. Also,
go on with your list. Go on through your list.
I'm putting out what I want as a prop, besides the cobwebs. If we don't get it as a material, is I want a spider prop.
a spider prop. You know what? We do
Spider
need
props.
that. Yeah, as dreadful as
Or more skulls. Give me more skulls. Don't give me that Murray. I want more skulls. I want like skulls with horns. I want like demon skulls and monster skulls and cow skulls and horse skulls
and skeletons.
Yes, I want bones. Give me bones.
Bones, individual bones. Yeah. I was at Costco yesterday. They've got for the Halloween stuff. They have cat skeletons.
Cat skeletons.
Skeletitties, yeah.
What kind of places are you going to, dude?
It's Costco. And of course, it's right below the giant spider hanging from the ceiling.
But yeah, I mean, I want to see it like that whole 9 yards. I want more stuff. I love new stuff. New and more stuff is always good.
Well, I'm going to read from
amazing.
I'm going to read from the list of things that people can see here on the screen. So the lightning emitter, ghost emitter, blood emitters, cobwebs, orange pumpkins, carved and uncarved. That's a great idea right there.
Well, the pumpkins. Well, I don't want to take away from what Fierce did last year by putting out pumpkins.
Yeah, well, this is a pumpkin as a prop. I mean, you can't do anything with it except decorate.
And I really hope Fierce comes back and does it again this year.
I haven't seen him, dude. I've not seen him in a month.
If he doesn't do it, I'll do it.
Yeah, that was the most amazing player sponsored event.
Yeah, the biggest
single event in all of Landmark's history. It was.
He had a crap ton of submissions, and I mean crap tons. He had devs submitting, so it was really awesome. And he had like that whole entire forest of like pumpkins. Yeah, I mean, we had pumpkin stagecoaches. We had, monsters and houses and everything else, all made from that one single little pumpkin. It was really amazing what people did with that thing.
Absolutely brilliant idea. More types of gargoyles, varying transparency liquids. For test tubes and so we need clear liquid. It's a long list. Go check out Rosie's feed if you have some ideas for what you would like to see in terms of materials or even emitters and props. Reply to her thread, and can you drop that thread in the chat?
Are you talking about
in Twitch?
Her Twitter?
Yeah, her Twitter, that tweet of hers.
It's there. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
And I'm pretty sure she's got it typed up over on the forum somewhere too. So if she doesn't, start one and let everybody know that you started one, so we don't have like 20 million of them. But I mean, it's definitely, this is a good time to get your ideas out. And like Gio said earlier, we do have a dedicated team now, and Halloween's coming. It's our big time of the year, Halloween and Christmas. We didn't get anything for Thanksgiving, but we did get things for Halloween and Christmas. So
if you have a choice between a turkey or a goat, what's it going to be?
Goat. I think it'd be kind of cool to get a goat skull with the ram horns or something. That would be awesome.
That wouldn't
I
be
would
cool?
abuse that thing.
Well, we need that as a hat also, as a helmet.
So I mean, there's a lot of things we could be asking for right now, and me, the way I kind of look at it is like this: if we ask for certain things now, before the actual competition kicks off, see if they can squeeze some of that stuff in. One of the things that I asked for was a frosted bark. It's the only thing we don't have so far.
We don't have the frosted. Wait. We don't have the frosted bark.
No,
You got this right. You got the frosted wood. That's right.
Okay, let's put it this way.
Okay.
We got the cabers, we got the logs, and we got all that kind of stuff. Okay. It looks okay when it's sitting inside, but when you put it outside in the weather, it looks kind of weird
because it's so
snow on it.
It's so clean. Yeah.
It's because it's like super clean, and
So, are you saying should they make a caber that's got some snow on it? A frosted caber? Should they make some frosted props? Is what I'm asking.
Some frosted props, yes. It would be, well, not necessarily frosted props. I think skip that crap, unless you're going to make a just a log stack. The triple stack of logs. Get us some of those that has frosting on it. That when you rotate it, the frost always stays on top. That would be awesome. Or definitely like the frosted wood texture, because that would work really great on like these huge beams and stuff we're making. Yeah, that's about all my train of thought.
Well, so and we got to set priorities here, because the competition for the Hollis build is going to almost coincide with Halloween. You figure if they kick it off, let's say they kick it off next week.
I'm trying to find something, because this is something we need to bring up, and I'm going to try to find this actual image, because this image holds something in it that we were told we were going to get.
Ooh.
And I must toss this out there.
Send me the link as soon as you find it.
Uno momento. And I've got to find this here. I think it's in here. Where's it at? I don't see it. There is a concept piece of artwork, and I'm trying to find this thing.
And one of the things we talked about on our show today, which was rather fun, was the need for multiple animations for certain positions. So we've got like when you're walking and sad, you're kind of slouching forward. Well, if you just have the forearms come up and face forward, it'll look like you're pushing something heavy.
Okay.
And I think that would be just one little thing to add. But we had a funny video of something like that.
Yes. Click that last link I just posted on TS.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
Okay. If you can, zoom in over onto that lantern that's hanging from the rafters. Looks like bones that come down.
This one on the chains?
Yes. We were told we will be getting one of these, and we still have not seen it.
Oh, so this is like the one that Aliana made, isn't it?
Yes, but what it took to make that one,
that Aliana did.
It took a lot to make that.
See, that was a bunch of props. I mean, you get the placement of multiple chains. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look at all the different chain pieces you have to place down. How many props you have to place down just to make one of those lanterns? It was ridiculous.
And this is Ginsan's artwork, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Now there's something else I wanted to kind of bring up here right quick, and I'm always kind of bouncing around in here. And crap! I went to the wrong one. Up and up, and yeah. Open image in new tab. Get link. Paste to geo. All right, click that. This is the variety of skulls and bones that they could be pushing out to us that we could actually utilize right now, and be able to also use them inside of like a Halloween type thing.
These would be really, those would be useful in both Halloween stuff and
see that human skull looks more realistic in a way than the Murray. That one looks better than the Murray.
I like it. And I like the skulls of these beasts. Let's look at a rhino, a big bird.
Mm-hmm. And I would love to have that flag and actually have it going, kind of.
Wait, there you go. Yeah, do that again. We do. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Now on that same page as that, there's a bunch. Oh, here's another good one. Now, granted, all these are concept pieces, so I mean, these are ones that may or may not ever be made,
Mm-hmm.
But the ideas that they've got here are pretty awesome. At the bottom of that particular page, we have like the axes and the weapons and all this other kind of stuff that are really awesome. And then at the top, you see a lot of that earthenware. You see the earthenware, you see, like stuff you would see in like a kitchen. Those things could be made for all different kinds of stuff, and we could be using them for all different kinds of stuff. Now, me, I'm under the mindset of, make things multi-use. If I set it up this way, it could be one thing. If I turn it, over to the side, it could be something else. You turn it over again, and it could be something else.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be used in various different places. And there's quite a few things up there that can be used in that exact way. And those, I think, would be the ones that I would love to tackle and, get them out to us type stuff. Especially, let's see if I could pick one out right off the get-go. The pulley over onto the side. That is something we've asked for quite some time. Something, you see the little hook?
Oh, yeah, I see it right here.
If we get a pulley like that, we get its counterpart, which would be just a pulley itself, nothing else attached to it. We could be able to use that from, like gear propping and stuff like that for, like steampunk. You could use that on almost every single race. You could use that on it.
Yeah. So they get a lot, though. There's some of these props in these two screenshots we've shown you. They could get insane utility out of. Really extraordinary utility out of.
Now, you take something like this. Now, yes, it has the little hook on the bottom. Flip it upside down. Inset that whole entire thing into the bottom of something. Boom, you've got wheels.
Oh, yeah, let me show it again.
Okay. So, I mean, yeah, or if it's just the gear piece, if it's just a single gear piece and it's not got the side attachments onto it, boom,
it look like
wheels for something.
Yeah, it look like cartwheels. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
there's
awesome.
The multiple uses that you could use for that, and I think that's pretty awesome. We also have the anvil down at the bottom. If you
show that,
we still don't have an anvil. It'd be nice to have one. Blacksmiths across all races be pretty cool. But there's all different kinds of stuff. We got a shovel. We've got the pickaxes, the hammers, all the tools for blacksmiths. We still don't have any of that kind of stuff. It'd be pretty awesome.
We've had to make them out of voxels,
and they look like crap.
Yeah, they don't have the kind of they don't have the kind of fidelity that we need for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of voxel fidelity, we were talking today about the rooftop texture with this amazing build called Castle Rosa, and we noticed that the roof shingles. We'd love to see a new version of those with an even better bump map, a little like a higher resolution. You want to explain it real quick because you mentioned it on the show.
just a slightly more detail to it. It's not really the bump mapping. It's not really the light, the way the light's hitting it or anything like that. It's just the details on it are really, they're not refined. They still look like they came from alpha. There's a few of those. Yeah, if you could find a picture of that, that'd be great.
Checking out my screenshots to see if I nabbed one today.
But there's a few of those the alpha materials that really need a revision, and to bring it up to the level of what we're working with now.
Yeah, I'm looking. Oh, so I've got a picture. Maybe this will work.
Okay.
And here we go. Yep. So this is the illustration that we're talking about. We were at this build today, and then the woodwork on this build is absolutely beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's a very beautiful build. But I mean, you really don't see it from a distance. But
yeah, I don't have a close up on that. Yeah, but the roof shingles that he's referring to are these, and if we could get a new version of this one with a higher resolution, a more realistic resolution to it, more detail, better bump map.
Basically, it's something about the way the little shingles actually are like this. It's almost like there's not enough shadow being formed or gapping being formed in between the shingles, and that's the way it looks. If it had just a little bit more of a shadowing or something in between the shingles, it would look great. But the way it is right now, it still looks like an alpha. It looks like an alpha material. Even if you have to totally redesign the thing to get it up to par with what we're doing now, what we were doing back in alpha, heck, it's almost 2 years now, when those materials were made. The materials that are coming out now, fabulous,
are unbelievable. I mean, the level of improvement from what we had a year ago to what's coming out now in terms of material design, extraordinary.
Yeah, Alan Lapidus and the whole entire materials crew there, they've done a phenomenal job with this stuff, especially over the last 3 or 4 months. Heck, probably even more than that. But I mean, it's some pretty awesome stuff that they've got kind of coming out of things right now. And you take the older stuff and you put it next to this new stuff, and they just don't. You can't make a mix. It's just like in totally different styling in a way.
Yeah, and we still need that. We need the original material to not be touched. We just need a new version of it. Right.
And Miss Candela said some of the crowned wood pattern is a bit not seamless. That is a fact. Plain wood molding needs a revision badly. You can see the seam line where the material ends, and it meets up with the next one.
It's this. Right. Oh yeah.
It does like this on the very end of that material. That has been needed to be fixed in a very long time. Thank you for reminding us. Yes, they just need to go back and relook at them. That's all I'm going to say. Kind of put it at that. Ooh. It's been a good day, man.
Yeah, no kidding. It's a lot of stuff to take in. Something that I've been encountering. So, Elemental, I'm glad you're here. One of the things that's been driving me crazy in the game has been when I've got my UI turning it on and off. When I'm in map view, I can't turn my UI on and off. I always have to close my map and then turn my UI on or off, because sometimes I want to show just a build from an elevation, and in that case I don't need any of the interface stuff. But sometimes I want to show how much claimable land is there, and then I can't turn my UI on and off to go change those settings in the map. So
would you? Okay, I got a question for you on that though. would you be cool with a button in the top corner?
In the top corner of the map to turn that on and off?
Hide and unhide UI up in the top corner. Just a little button. It would only be about, like yay big, something like that.
I know it needs to be completely blank. It's completely clean. The UI needs to be completely gone. When you turn the UI off, there needs to be nothing on the screen. It needs to be a hotkey. It definitely needs to be a hotkey.
I guess.
So when you're in map view, to be able to hit Control F10 to toggle the UI on and off, that would be a huge quality. Sounds like a small thing, but we encounter it all the time. It happens to me every day on the show, and people just shake their heads.
Well, I have to ask that because once you're in map view, just having something up there that somebody can like reach up there and just click on and off. That way, it hides almost everything except for like a little small button about this big. I mean,
you could do that too, but you need the ability to Control F10 while you're in map view, and currently the Control F10 doesn't work while you're in map view.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure he'll check it out. What else you got?
You know what? I want to try and find that funny video from today where we were all pushing the capstan on my ship, my frigate. We shot that footage while we were making the movie. Give me just a moment to find this. Go ahead and talk a little bit if you got something to cover me while I look. But this
said, I think we'll keep toggles like that on shortcuts and in the options menu. Okay. Well, I had to ask. You want to do stuff like that more than I do. Me, I like click, boom, I'm done. Okay. Asking Emma to vamp. What? What is Katina talking about?
Katina, she causing trouble.
Yeah, she's causing trouble. Elemental Fiend said, we're putting in a lot of work to make sure the building UI modal bar is no longer intrusive to screen space. Awesome. I cannot wait to see like an image of kind of what they've got
Been enjoying
kind of coming down the pipe. And the reason why I'm like saying that is I'd rather like try to say something before it was implemented, so it could be like a little bit of feedback before it was implemented. So I mean, we're the beta testers. We're the guys who we're going to end up testing it one way or the other. And honestly think that getting a little feedback before it comes out would be a good thing, because it's not a wasted amount of time. You can get the feedback before actual full implementation of something, and then you got to finagle to get things back in a different way if it doesn't kind of go the way as intended. That's just my viewpoint on it. I think just having a picture, it's like Rosie said, image speaks 1,000 words. Well, not quite as good as video. But hey.
Well, here's the video clip that I showed today on the show, and this is what I'm talking about. So here, everyone's they're in sad and they're walking, and if you could hit the shift key to have their arms go forward, it would make them look like they're actually pushing the capstan there. And that would be handy. That'd be fun for all sorts of things, because when we're pushing carts and all kinds of other stuff, like we did today on the show. Just another fun thing to add to just this animation. Wow, it looks like Tima, did you freeze? I think Tima dropped out. Well, everybody, you know what? It's time to wrap. Hold on, let me see if I can get Tinma back. Well, no luck. Well, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Good show. Yeah, Tinma. Okay, so Tinma's connection must have dropped. No worries. Thanks, Kat. Well, Elemental Fiend, thanks for being here in the chat. Certainly appreciate it, and answering questions that people have. And everybody, that's a wrap. Episode 52, Meshing with Voxels. Look forward to seeing what's going to come down the pipeline this week and next. Guys, keep those tweets coming. If you're out there tweeting from the game and you want to get your pictures into our Morning Brew pre-show, make sure you include hashtag LX in your tweets. And then tune in for episode 53 of Let's Talk Landmark on Wednesday at 7:30, and the Morning Brew tomorrow morning at 10. And we're also over on YouTube for the early morning show, which kicks off about 8 o'clock in the morning. So we'll see you guys soon. Cheers. Be good. Go out and build something.